Hi there, creative soul. Welcome back to my channel today. I'm super excited to be swatching the Holbein Autumn Gouache autumn set, and I'll be testing it out on the Etchr Sketchbook, as well as trying out these Etchr Gouache set of paintbrushes. Let's see how these three things work together and get a feel for some fall inspired colours. Let's get into it. First up, let's take a look at this beautiful gouache set. Holbein is known for its vibrant and high quality paints, and this autumn set promises some stunning seasonal hues. We have 12 colours here, ranging from deep reds, warm yellows, some ochre earth tones, some browns, some greens, and surprisingly an indigo. Hopefully these are going to be perfect for capturing that autumn vibe. These tubes are 15mm, which is a good size if you're planning to use these for larger pieces or layering heavily. Now next up is the Etchr Sketchbook. It's not 300 GSM, it's got 220 GSM and 100% cotton paper and a super smooth surface, which is great for detailed work and should work well with gouache. So I'm excited to see how it handles the paints when I can get into it. Now I believe this is my third sketchbook with Etchr, but I've not actually used it for gouache yet. I've used it for watercolours and Inktense pencils, and they work beautifully with it. Now it comes in this beautiful grey box, so it's great for archiving. We have a do not eat thing, we have two do not eat things, and then we have the sketchbook. Now these are the everyday sketchbooks. I like to get the B5s. So these comes with like a canvas front, so you can paint these or leave them plain, whatever you want to do, which so far I've left all mine plain. So it opens up, you can use this page straight away, and then we've got the weird page that they always glue together, which I never quite understand. But as you can see, the paper is very, very smooth. And then we've got a bookmark in there as well. Now there's 52 pages in here. You've got a pocket, extendable pocket on the back, and then a little info booklet that I like to keep in there to remind me which book's which. Because I also have some of the cold press ones as well, so I like to know which one's which. So yeah. And then we also have the Etchr paintbrushes, the gouache ones that come in this camel coloured roll, but they also do a watercolour one which comes in a black canvas roll, and then I think the handles are black, whereas these ones are white with a black tip on the end. So we've got a variety of these ones, but these ones are specifically for gouache because you tend to use a lot more flat and angled brushes with gouache. So I'll pop them up there. So we're going to see how those handle. Now typically I just tend to use my Princeton paintbrushes, my Velvet Touch ones. I tend to use them for practically everything at this point, which are these ones. I have got a couple with me just in case. So with this being an autumn set, I want to do like an autumn swatch. So I've already drawn on tracing paper kind of what I would like, which are these sort of like leaves that are like floating, swirling around in the wind, hopefully. And then there's 11 of them. I know there's 12 colours, but I'll explain why in a bit. And I want to have them sort of like coming from this area and then going on. And then I'm going to do a bigger piece as well later on. So let's just transfer these across. So all I do with these transfer. I don't have any transfer paper with me, so I just literally use a 6B pencil and just scribble on the back. This is the easiest and sort of like the best way to just transfer images, especially onto like canvas boards or stuff like that. Okay. There we go. Super easy peasy, and then a bit of washi tape I'm going to use to just hold it in place. Because where do I want this? Sort of there, I think. So going across the double page. Straight up. Yeah. So all I do now is just take a H pencil, because that's all I've got with me, and then draw over exactly where I want the leaves. Now if anybody would like this line drawing, I will leave it on my Patreon for free members to download. So you can basically use it however you like, and then it'll be at A4 size as well. So you can either use it for swatching or use it as a bigger piece or use it as collaging, but I'll neaten it up as well a little bit as well, so it's not as crazy. Alright, and then take the tracing paper off. The Etchr paper already withstands the washi tape very well. Just pop that to the side. I'm not gonna, the lines are quite dark enough as it is, so I'm not gonna go overboard. So I'm just gonna go straight in with our first colour when I've chosen a brush. I think I'm gonna use, yeah, I'm going to use the number 2 Etchr. Number 2 Etchr Flathead. It's the smallest one. Alright, let's start swatching. I'm going to lay down each colour in the order they came in the set. I've got these plastic palettes with me. I just need one. Ideally I'd use ceramic, but I'm travelling at the moment, so I don't want to use too much. I'm just going to use a small amount. So this is the 802 Styleflower Red. And the pigment number is PR170. So let's get a bit of colour on there, a bit of water, and make it a bit more manageable. It's a beautiful bright red, have to say. I'm just going to go straight in. The reason why I use the flathead is because you can get some beautiful points better, I think, than what you can if you use a round head, especially for leaf shapes. Now it is a very hot day today, so so the paint will dry very quickly, which can work for you and against you. That's beautiful, bold, sharp red. Let's wash the brush off. And then we'll move on to 811 orange. Pigment number is PY42 and PR9. Oh, this is like a burnt orange, which is quite nice. And do this one. So this is the 824 Grenadier Yellow. It's PY342. Oi, 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 oi. A little bit there. Okay, so just using the yellow. And next up, we're going to use the 825 Amar Coke Yellow, and it's PY154 PG17. And this looks to be like a very, I don't know, like a greenish yellow. Let's see what it looks like on the page. Water in there. Let's see what it looks like when it dries. You can see just a very tiny amount of difference between the two. Let's try the next color, which is 826 Amber, and the pigment colors are PY 119 and 83. So I think we'll do this little leaf here, that colour. See, swatching out your colours on the first page of your sketchbook is also a great way of getting over the fear of, you know, messing up or just, you know, getting stuck in and trying a new sketchbook. Because I was always taught your first page should always be your worst page anyway, and it should be your last page that is actually your best page, because it shows how much you've improved. Now that saying came from my English teacher, hopefully getting my handwriting to improve. Not quite sure it did. If anything, it got worse. I got faster, but it got worse. Now this is a lovely, lovely, this is what I would call a traditional autumn colour. It's beautiful burnt orange. Although that is as well, but it's just a different, this one's got a little bit more yellow to it, I would say. But it is lovely. Lovely jubbly. And next up, we move into the browns. So we've got this 835 Bark Brown, PY111, PR101, and PBK11. So a bit of black in here. Do this leaf here. Needs a little bit more water. Loosen it all up. I have to say this is a lovely brown. I know it's a strange thing to say brown's brown, but it's actually not. It's really not, I promise you. You get some really beautiful browns like mahoganies and, you know, that have got more red tones to them rather than ashy or grey tones. So then the next one is another brown, which is 836 Smoked Bamboo, and the pigments are PR101 and PBK11. And I think this one's got a bit more yellow to it. Let's do this big leaf here with it. I'm just going to go back on this leaf with the previous brown. Perhaps keep it in a lighter tone as well. Yeah. And I'll do the same with the brown we just used, the smoked bamboo, but keeping it lighter. Just do this little leaf here. A bit thicker. Just a bit thicker. There we go. Let's turn this round. So now let's move on to the greens. So we're going to use a 844 Leek Green. Pigments are PY42, 74 and PG7. Oh, that's quite a lot, but okay. To another green, which is the 848 Pine Tree Green, and the pigments are PY42 and PG8. Bit more water to that one. Another little one first. One thing I love about the Holbein Gouache is how creamy and opaque it is right out of the tube. The colours are vibrant and have a nice range of values, perfect for layering and mixing. Okay, so moving on to another green, which is the 849 Elm Green, and the pigments are PY42 and PG8. Oh, so this is what I would call an earth green, which is always a very good idea to have in your palette. Because I tend to go for super bold, bright greens, and then I remember that's not how the world looks. Might do in my crazy brain, but not to everybody else. The paint flows beautifully onto the etch paper. The smooth texture of the hot press surface really makes these colours pop and allows for fine details without any roughness. So far, no warping or bleeding through the paper, which is always a good sign. And then the other colour we're going to be using is a blue, and it's the 866 Indigo. And the pigments are PB15, PR83, PBK6. Okay, so that's pretty much all of the colours. So we'll go reds, oranges, yellows, more earthy tones, and some greens, and one blue. Now the other colour that we have in the set is this 892 Antique Rich Gold, and the pigment is PW20. Now I'm going to use this on top of the other colours rather than just swatching it out, because it's basically a gold. So with each of these seasonal Holbein sets you always get like a metallic. So in this one we've got gold, which makes sense for autumn. I think the winter one you get a silver, and then a copper, and then I'm not sure what the other one is. I think it's different tones of the colours for each season, but this one we've got a lovely gold. So I want to see what it's going to look like over the top of some of these. What brush we're going to use, because I want a very fine detailed one. I think I'm going to use a Princeton brush for this one. I'm going to use a 0 Princeton brush, because I know how small and how fine I can get the lines on this one. Here's the full set swatched out, and wow, these colours are stunning. From the rich amber to the deep indigo, each colour has nice opacity and richness. And the Etchr Sketchbook, it's handling gouache like a champ, smooth, vibrant, and the paper is all holding up beautifully. But of course, these are just very small samples, so I wonder how an entire sheet can hold up. So yeah, that is the gold on top. Can you see how the light is reflecting it? It's a lovely accent colour to it all. So yeah, I mean, just initially looking at these few leaves, it really does look like an autumn set. So I think that it's very well chosen in terms of colours. So that's the initial basic swatch of what these colours look like. How about we get on to see what they look like when we mix them together, and maybe do some, and perhaps do some tonal studies on these as well. And then also, one thing I always like to do with my paints now is I like to mix them with ochre. This is 584 ochre, and the pigment is PR1, PV1, and PV11. This is the traditional artist gouache, but I also like to use the acrylic gouache as well, because the vibrancy of these two colours are dramatically different. Let's see if I can get it open without squirting everywhere. You can see how much more vibrant the acrylic one is, so perhaps that could be considered a fluorescent colour. But I like to mix my colours with these because you get some really interesting colours that you would never really think of, and it also adds a pop of colour, which I quite like. So we're going to experiment with those with the autumn set. So there you have it. The Holbein's Artist Gouache autumn set is vibrant, creamy, and perfect for those autumn inspired pieces. And the Etchr Hot Press Sketchbook complements it perfectly with its smooth, sturdy pages. I'm definitely impressed with how these products work together and can't wait to create more. I don't really want to give a full opinion on the gouache brushes from Etchr because I've only used one, but the one I did use handled very well. It held the right amount of water and it kept its shape, and it allowed me to achieve some fine details and some smooth lines. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button for more art reviews and demos. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. Thank you so much for watching, and happy painting!